Okay, so this video is showing you how to solder two wires together. Sometimes you need to splice them together for whatever you're doing, making a custom cable, custom wiring harness, something like that. So we're going to start off by stripping a good amount of wire off. Wow, these are not working today. I'm going to do it with a knife. Just lightly roll that wire around the blade. If you push too hard, you'll cut through the wires, and that's no good. On larger gauge wires, it doesn't matter as much, but on little 22 gauge, 24 gauge, like this, kind of have to be careful. So now I'm going to take these and twist the wires so that the ends aren't frayed, they're not going all over the place. There we go. And we have a nice twist on there. I'm going to take these and fold them over each other. I'm going to fold that over there, and this guy over here, like that. I'm going to twist this wire all the way around, as tight as I can. I'm going to do the same thing with the yellow wire. Okay, so you can see I twisted one side over, kind of making two loops, and then I'm twisting the wire around itself. And you want to try and do that as tight as you can, just like that. And ooh, I forgot the most important thing. I forgot to put heat shrink on it. So it's a good thing that this is just an example and the other end of my wire is open. Slide in an appropriate diameter heat shrink. Normally you want to do this before you do this connection because sometimes you don't have access to the sides to get a small piece of heat shrink on. So I'm going to leave that over there so it doesn't get too hot. Get these helping hands going. Put a little bit of tension on it so it holds nicely. Okay, so we want that to be nice and tight right there. And then take a little bit of flux. And put that right there in the middle. That's all we really need. Just a dab. So my iron is heated up to 400 degrees. I'm going to clean it off in the steel wool. And then take my iron. I'm going to be using the top side of it. So I'm going to put some solder on there, because that helps it conduct the heat better. And then put it on one side of my wire. And then flow in the solder from the other side. And that's about all you need. You only need it in the middle. You don't really need it on the ends. A little bit more if you like. And that's it. It'd be really cool if it's focused. So now you have this kind of ugly solder ball on there, but it's a nice tight joint because the wires are looped around each other like that. So it's not going to come apart. And then we can slide our heat shrink over. You can see it's long enough to cover the insulation on both sides. This is not the right tool for the job, but I'm going to use it anyway. This is the SMD rework heat gun. So it's a very low amount of airflow, but it does get hot. I'm going to turn it up to about 200 degrees C. That is plenty hot to heat the heat shrink. So I make sure that this is centered on there so that the insulation is being covered on both sides. And there you go. That is a super solid splice. It's covered in heat shrink all the way around. This is going to be a little bit toasty, so don't touch it. And there you go. Now if you need to remove this, you really can't. You have to just cut the wire and start over. So before doing that, make sure that it is a bad joint and it does need to be replaced, and that you have enough spare wire on either side.